on the hunt for Mother Armenia, and at this busy roundabout where everything seems a little bit chaotic, I found her. She's up there on the hill in the distance, if you can make that out. Up there in the distance on the let me just get away from this school group where they're being told, I assume being told to behave. Yeah, in search of Mother Armenia. She's up there on the hill next to a Ferris wheel, which I can only assume is a passive tribute to Chernobyl. The map routes suggest that I have to walk around roundabouts and stuff. I don't think that's true, so I'm just going to try and use my actual eyes and not just rely on the maps and try and get up there. Let's see if I make it. Up these old steps that look rather nice, but reek of piss. This seems to be the way. Maybe I can cut up the hill like a ruin of a house, some apartment building there. Yeah, this seems to be the way. And I've got to take my life in my hands now and come across. Let's see. Yeah, someone actually stopped. That was nice. Got a classic ladder coming up here. Look at that. Classic boxy shape inside and out, but well maintained. Right, well, I thought I was going to be smart and now walk up this sort of overpass thing, but there is no way through here. I wonder if that's been closed just because it's dangerous. Certainly doesn't look so good. Okay, well, I guess I have to keep walking. It's overcast, and it's kind of hot, especially walking up what is quite a steep hill. So, here we go. She's going to hove into view. There she is. Mother Armenia. And with graffiti in Armenian that I cannot read. And the pavement's about to run out. I mean, there's got to be another way, doesn't there? I'm not sure if this is the way. Okay. There's an edge that would appear. Yeah, well, I mean, remember me as I was, I guess. Which was the guy who wanted to climb up a hill with no pavement with lots of traffic coming up behind him that you can't see. There she is with the Armenian flag with the extra bit that, if I've been told correctly, that wedge shape is representing the disputed territory that currently is under the control of Azerbaijan, and which Armenia continues to consider part of its own territory. So interesting that that would be up there on the wall under this national symbol of Mother Armenia. This is pretty dodgy, I would say. I mean, not... No! Not terribly dodgy, but quite dodgy. Hopefully I make it. I'm going to turn off the camera so I can focus on not being hit by traffic. Oh my god, there it is. Look at it. Look at it. This. It's a fucking pavement. That last bit was really a bit scary. I don't know if there is like, people who know Yerevan are probably screaming at me saying, why did you go this way when there's a perfectly good pedestrian path around the corner? But I didn't see any. But I've survived so far. And now we're almost at the top. I have to turn the corner. There's this monument that's not Mother Armenia. It's another one. Need to find out what that is. Turn the corner and hopefully make it there alive. I hope this pavement is going to take me all the way. Judging by the scooter that's been abandoned in the centre of the road, I'm not the only psychopath who walked up here. Well, I guess they took a scooter, which is either more or less stupid, depending on your point of view on the scooters. I've made it into the safety of Victory Park, Park Papiedli, and here is the old plan, which tells us where we are at the bottom, and it looks like Mother Armenia is going to be down this way. If I just keep going here, it looks like the structure on the other side of the road, if my quick check on the Google Maps, is of the monument to the 50th anniversary of the October Revolution. Probably not being built quite that way now. If I can get over there, I'll have a look. And here, you see this a lot in Yerevan, is the delicious natural water. I've read a few things already saying it's like one of the most delicious waters in the world, that you can have the natural water. I mean, I'd say it tastes like water, which is good because you don't want it to taste not like water, but I wouldn't get my knickers in a twist about it. It's nice, it's good, and there we go. Maybe I'm just spoiled. I'm used to Scottish water, which is also very nice. So, what do we have here? Yeah, it's in Armenian, therefore I have no idea what we have here. But what I do see down this way is a silhouette hoving into view. I'm not sure if you can see that yet, but she's there. Mother Armenia is peeking through next to the Ferris wheel. So I'm going to get there pretty soon, if I don't fall down random sinkholes along the path. Fingers crossed. I'm getting closer. I get the impression, like a lot of things, when you come in the off season, you get the benefit of it not being crowded, but you get the disadvantage of everything feeling kind of abandoned. So just have these old buildings here, lots of pipes and stuff laid out. The Ferris wheel is not turning. I'm gonna assume that that still goes in the summer. No, it is moving, but maybe just in the wind. Should Ferris wheels just move in the wind? Is that a good sign? So yeah, it has a sort of otherworldly feeling, which is fine, but I don't think I'd want to be here at night. It is slowly moving in the wind on its own. Maybe that's what they're meant to do for safety, but to me it seems a bit disturbing, but not as disturbing as Victory Kvass. Kvass is a drink that's basically made out of bread, mildly alcoholic, I think, usually. It's disgusting. I hate it, but it is very popular. The idea of Victory Kvass, I think I would only drink kvass in defeat, never in victory. If I won something, I would have something as far away from kvass as possible. It's as if a haunted fairground came to town and the Scooby gang managed to take them all out, get rid of the demons, get rid of the crooked people, and this is what has been left behind. The remnants of a successful Scooby Doo episode. No one ever talks about the bodies that are left behind in the old fairground, and who cleans them up? We don't know. Dark VR. Don't know what the deal is with that. It turns out there is kind of a fairground still in operation here, just not all of it. And the Ferris wheel is turning. I think that's actually its operating speed. That's what it does. Super slow motion, so it's not as creepy and moving on its own as I originally thought. There's kind of bumper cars. There's some little trains and animals who all look as if they've been horribly abused, actually, and deeply traumatized. They look like they all have a profound level of PTSD. Yeah, so put your kids in there and see how they enjoy that, I suppose. We have a stray cat. Здрасте. Oh. She's off. Don't get to speak to the cat. Maybe the cat saw the dog over here. There's a big dog. Or maybe the cat could have been scared off by the dinosaur, which is of course also here. Interesting mix of everything. Now some kind of longboat pirate ship that is also an eagle. Very victorious. Love it. And here is the zombie castle. I can only assume that the Mother Armenia statue and the fact this is Victory Park is all about the time when the zombies were finally overcome and Armenia freed itself from that tyranny. And now, wow, this is really impressive actually. I'm gonna need to shut up about zombies and actually pay attention. There it is. That's amazing. That is seriously big. With a bit of military vibe here with some rockets that are on display. Wow. Hard to even fit into shot. And there it is, the eternal flame, still burning. Hopefully you can make that out. And up here it's written, "Your name is unknown, but your victory is immortal." I guess my rough translation. So it's the flame burns in honor of the unknown soldier, the unknown soldiers who fell. Usually this structure would be specifically about the victory over the Nazis, the Second World War, but they can often take on other meanings, especially in a state that has undergone as many changes as Armenia, no doubt. So it was suggested that, in something I read, that this Mother Armenia statue provocatively forms a cross, like a Christian cross. And I can see that, the way that she's holding the sword across herself. But I guess there's just enough deniability in it that it's not 100% like, you wouldn't necessarily think that, perhaps, unless you've been told, unless you were primed to see it, and so forth. So I think, yeah, maybe it was intentional, maybe it wasn't. I don't know enough to say for sure, but it's interesting. Often these motherland statues will be in different poses. Like you can see there's one above Kiev in Ukraine where she's holding up a shield, which recently changed the hammer and sickle to being the trident of Ukraine. And maybe the most famous one is by Volgograd, which was Stalingrad, where one of the most important battles happened in the Second World War. Mother Armenia, the flags flying high above Yerevan. Originally, this was built with a giant statue of Stalin up there, overlooking the city, and beneath it was a museum dedicated to the Second World War, or the Great Patriotic War, as it's called. It was called in the Soviet Union, it's still called in many post-Soviet states today. And then, after Khrushchev had denounced Stalin, de-Stalinization happens in different ways across the former Soviet states, and eventually it included the removal of the giant Stalin statue, and the plinth stood empty, the building, the roof stood empty. I guess it's a bit more than a plinth, it's massive. And then the Mother Armenia statue was put up there. And inside there is still a museum. The lower floor is dedicated to the Second World War still, and how Armenia contributed to it in many ways, and lost a huge number of people in the battles, especially considering its size. Massive losses. And on the top floor, the main floor, is dedicated to the fallen of the ongoing conflict that erupts periodically between Armenia and Azerbaijan over disputed territory, which is really, really sad that continues to this time. It's not a conflict that I know enough about to make comments on. I don't want to talk about something I don't really know about, but certainly the presentation in the museum there is quite touching and sad, and clearly the people working there, it matters to them personally. They didn't come across as just custodians of historical information, but it clearly touches them very deeply at a personal level as well. So there we go, inside Mother Armenia statue, and the eternal flame up here on the hill. And the weather's held off, but now I think it's time to go back down. And on my way out, I find here in Victory Park the fisting monument, it would appear. And on the other side, it's sporting the open hand variation, which is very advanced. I hope this isn't actually an incredibly important, meaningful monument that I've just ruined and disrespected. Heading down, there's various sort of rubble. It's a kind of shed. Maybe it was a shed once with some trash. These containers with liquid, some interesting graffiti. And then this, which I believe is the Radisson Hotel. So yeah, interesting connections. They've got new roads. It's nice. All made out for the guests of the Radisson Hotel, just as long as they don't walk up here where it all sort of falls apart and stops. And look how the money stops here. This road, it's all up to this point where the nice lampposts are and the paving is, and even the trees look better. Look at them. And then and then this. So I guess the budget was very specifically spent in this area, and as soon as you get to the edge of this path, it's just broken. And that's it. So I guess the people who control the budget at Radisson were very specific about what they required and how far they were prepared to go. Yeah, I feel like I'm in a little wonderland walking through here where all the trees are alive. So there's not really an immediate information space here. All I know is that it's a monument commemorating the 50th anniversary of the October Revolution, the Russian Revolution. So I don't know if it used to be with more information and they just don't particularly want to talk about it that way now, or if it's just an enigmatic presence hovering over the city. So aside from the giant column, there's this. Inside the giant block, it's like a secret extra layer. I wonder what this is supposed to represent. I wonder if it's been used for any kind of ceremonies, because there's gates you can see that are locked, an entrance. But this blocky architecture reminds me a little bit of Lenin's tomb on Red Square. They're also very different, but there's just this sort of blocky aspect. But then there's these arches along here with the Armenian writing, which gives a different kind of stylistic flavor as well. It's probably pretty evocative. There's spotlights here as well. I'll try and look out at night and see if I can see it illuminated. Now walking under the monument structure, this underpass here, I guess this was the pedestrian way in. It seems a lot less dangerous, but also a little strange. You see just these bits of iron sticking out of the concrete as if it's unfinished. There's certainly unfinished stuff down there. It's strange. And off camera I keep being approached by people with some different schemes, like a guy who just seemed to intentionally fall over in front of me and then say his phone was damaged when it seemed like, I mean, it seemed pretty clear that it was all just part of an act, and then wanted me to call a number or to give him money for a SIM card, and it's all complex and confusing. So yeah, I'm not sure what was happening. Look at this old car. Nice color. Wonder if it's still going. And look at this, a gold building and the beaten up car, old Soviet monument. Whole clash of different elements, different aspects. Super interesting. The way down continues to feel like it was thrown together in a series of haphazard ideas. Wow. A dramatic monument, and yet it's like a mess of construction that never really finished underneath it, and I have no idea what that's about. And now across here is the way to get down. But I think this is going to look very cool when we see it properly. That looks very fountainy, very fancy fountainy, and again no water. Water is rationed until it's the summer when they use all the water possible. And here they are close up. The divers in their poses coming in. Oh, and there's a surprise. It's by a British guy. The divers. And here they are. Apparently he doesn't have a name though, little seahorse, but again, a British artist. I had no idea to expect this. Little swimmer dude. This one's going after a turtle. It's pretty dynamic up here. Okay, now we've got some other people. We've got an Italian, we've got a Mexican, and we've got an American, all contributing to this selection. It's a pretty good turtle. Nice. Wow, what an interesting place. This is one of the positives of doing bugger all research ahead of time, is that I can just be surprised when I stumble on something instead of knowing to come here and knowing what it is. So as part of this Cascade Complex, which is what I thought it was, but I didn't want to say till I checked, there's like different semi-hidden zones. I mean, it's not hidden away, but there's different parts. Like down here we have a little staircase that you maybe wouldn't see from all angles, and it seems to be a popular place for couples to hang out and canoodle a little bit, but we'll try and give them their privacy. This fellow's here, he's checking it out as well. Hello. Hi. Hey. He's a good dog. There you go. He got his he got what he wanted and he's off. Another friendly street dog of Yerevan. And here would again be another, I'm sure, extremely impressive fountain. Here is what it looks like from the bottom. Pretty epic. And I had no idea I was going to stumble on it from the top, which is kind of funny but interesting to just experience it without expectations that way. And at the bottom here, empty fire beds for now, but also some nice sculptures, some surreal sculptures. There's a giant fat cat over yonder, and then also coming up here, some kind of elephant trapped in a tiny circus tent, which actually looks quite haunting. What an interesting spot. It's really cool to have such a large area just dedicated to art. dedicated to creating an ambience, and it works because I see people all along here just hanging out, like they've come to have a stroll and a chat with friends. There's the various lovers along here who are clearly having some private moments in the public space, which is not really the thing that happens in my own country, but is common in lots of other places where maybe there isn't private space at home, and so you go for a walk because you can be private in public more than you can be private around your own family in a closed space. And when you have a place like this, all these benches and this really nice atmosphere, why wouldn't we want to come and just take a stroll and hang out and spend that time with someone here? It's really, really nice. I wish we had better large, cool public spaces at home. Yeah, great.